The world is more connected through communication technologies than ever before. The majority of people around the globe now have access to multiple computers and a smartphone technology that allows them to send and receive messages instantly. However, despite the access and advances in communication technology, people still struggle to listen effectively. Technology is able to provide information and opportunities to connect with people from around the world, but in the end, true communication falls on people involved and their ability to listen and understand each other. Effective listening is a learned communication skill which enables an individual to hear what is being said, process the information, and return helpful and meaningful responses. Without this skill, communication will fail to reach its fullest potential. To truly understand effective listening, an individual must first grasp the basic idea of listening. Listening is more than hearing sounds and syllables. It is an intentional act on the part of the listener to understand the speaker and their point of view. There are different types of listening which can either improve or impair communication. When a person is practicing distracted listening, they are spending more time listening to their own thoughts while pretending to listen to the other person. On the other hand, a person practicing engaged listening not only demonstrates an interest in what the other person is saying, but also encourages a continued conversation. When a person is engaging in insensitive listening, they are focusing on the situation rather than the individual. They spend time evaluating the problem without much thought for the emotional or spiritual well-being of the parties involved. Instead, they might be judgmental or critical of the individual to the detriment of that person's emotional health. On the other hand, a person who practices compassionate listening will strive to understand the feelings of the other individual and pay attention to words, tone, and body language. They listen with a heart of concern for the emotional well-being of the other person and seek to bring emotional healing. We could say then that the main purpose of listening is to be able to properly understand not only the speaker's point of view, but to show genuine interest in their position and empathy for their emotions. In order to become an effective listener, a person needs to become aware of certain barriers which can arise in the listening process. One of the most common barriers is the cultural barrier. There are different cultural barriers to listening which can create frustration during a conversation. Major barriers can involve language differences or difficult to understand accents. Different cultures may have different relationship rules for genders, ages, or social standing. These cultural differences can make communicating more difficult. However, even without cultural barriers, listening can still be a difficult concept and a skill to master. Another common barrier is a lack of communication training. At face value, listening appears to be a simple skill. It is assumed that anyone with the ability to hear is able to listen. This assumption prevents professionals from humbling themselves to learn the important skill of active listening. This skill goes beyond simply hearing and brings the listener into a more empathetic and personal role in the conversation. The lack of training can cripple an individual when it comes to the art of listening. Bad listening habits are another barrier which further prevents the listener from understanding the heart of what is being said. If someone assumes that they know where a conversation is heading, they might stop listening and start creating the response instead. By disengaging from the conversation, even for a short time, they might miss important details in the words, emotions, or body language of the other person, which can result in miscommunication and leave the other party feeling unheard. As with cultural barriers, wrong assumptions are another barrier which can hinder communication. Generalizations or stereotypes can lead the listener to perceive a person in a certain way. These false assumptions can prevent the listener from understanding what is being said or properly responding. By understanding the barriers to listening, an effective listener can manage these challenges and improve their listening skills. Chaplaincy ministry depends in great part on effective listening. An effective chaplain is an effective listener, not only to the voice of the divine through their faith, but also to the needs of people, both verbalized and expressed through their expressions and body language. Listening beyond words also implies setting aside any barriers which impair a true understanding of the needs which are being expressed by an individual seeking a chaplain's spiritual guidance. When a chaplain exercises effective listening in chaplaincy, it creates an honest channel of communication which leads to a proper understanding of the issue, emotional and spiritual needs being met, and provides the grounds for the healing process to begin. A chaplain's main purpose is not to provide information through preaching and teaching as traditionally seen in pastoral ministry, but to instead provide care through the intentional act of listening. A chaplain must listen to the words, the emotions, and the body language of the person they are ministering to in order to provide the help and support a person needs during a time of hardship or difficulty. Only through effective listening can a chaplain truly understand the needs of others and provide the help and healing the situation requires. If you'd like to learn more about effective listening, we invite you to like and subscribe to our channel for more instructional videos on chaplaincy ministry. Thank you for listening to this instructional video. We hope the topics presented will be a blessing in your ministry.